Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, today's episode is all about that weird little saying, "You're not dead yet," and what that means to you. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast, Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach and midlife mentor, and I am so glad to be here with you again. The topic I want to coach you on today is taking a good look at a little sentence that you might catch yourself saying or that someone might say to you. You're not dead yet. Now, I hope that doesn't throw you off. I know it's a little blunt and definitely a little weird, but I'm sure you've heard it, and I'm sure you've probably used it too. At first, it can sound really strange and harsh when somebody says that to you. But then when you dig into it, what it really means, you may find that you can't really argue with it. But first, this episode is sponsored by Podcastpalooza. What's going on is that the Women in the Middle podcast will soon be hitting the exciting milestone of 1 million downloads. Right now, as of me preparing this episode, people from 90 countries around the world are listening, and 994,943 downloads have occurred. That's almost 1 million. We are getting there. The countries with the top 10 amounts of downloads are the United States, Canada, Australia, United Kingdom, Ireland, New Zealand, Germany, France, Israel, and the Dominican Republic. Women in the Middle Podcast Palooza is an online celebration that you'll be invited to once we hit 1 million downloads. It's a Zoom party with games and prizes. You can sign up for the waitlist now at www.susierosenstein.com/party, and the details about the party will be announced soon. But get on the waitlist so you don't miss a thing. And if you want to help us get to 1 million downloads faster, please think about your favorite episode and share it with a midlife friend of yours who really needs some of this midlife goodness. And there's one more thing. I have a new free gift for you. It's called 12 Obvious Signs That You're Ready for an Exciting Change. It's a download and it just might have your name on it. It will totally help you confirm some of the things you've been noticing about how stuck you are lately. Just go to www.susierosenstein.com/12 signs and you can download it there. All right, here we go. How many times have you heard yourself telling somebody something like this? Hey, you know, you're not dead yet. I know I've said it many times and people have said it to me. When it's said like this in midlife, it is typically said with some encouragement or with some challenge or maybe even a little bit of annoyance. And you know what it means. It means you're still alive. You still have time. Come on, get with the program. When you first hear it, you might think, duh, I know I'm not dead yet. But it's said in certain situations because the person it's being said to is acting like or thinking as if they don't have time left, as if they're dead, or as if they'll fail in advance, something like that. They've pre-decided that whatever it is isn't possible. And this is so common with women in the middle. And it is so not necessary. It is such a fun and fulfillment blocker. This is why I wanted to talk to you about the "you're not dead yet" expression, because it is so easy to get into this mindset. It can happen to the best of us too. And it might surprise you, but like I said, it is common, so you're in good company. You just may find yourself thinking that you're running out of time, even though you don't want to think this way. But you just might not think it's possible anymore to go back to school, to change your job, to lose weight, to change your routine, to learn a new skill, to travel to a certain place, to do something you've always wanted to do. I think you get my drift. And when you think you're running out of time, notice how you feel. These fun emotions: down, defeated, sad, longing, washed up, old, maybe even regretful. And when you feel this way, notice what you do next. You pull back, you retreat, you stay small, or you get smaller. You definitely feel worse. And then you only end up supporting the idea that you really can't accomplish what's a priority for you because you're running out of time. You end up in a self-fulfilling negative thought loop that just keeps you stuck and sad. But, as George Carlin once said, part of the pleasure of being alive is the knowledge that you're not dead yet. Right? There is knowledge on some level. And it's an important reminder that there is so much that is still possible in your life. In fact, a sneaky way that you might realize this is to notice what you think is possible for other people. The special unicorn people who are lucky or more talented, and for sure they have all kinds of possibility, that you can believe something else as a result of this simple fact, you're not dead yet. Here's the question for you. This all seems well and good, kind of obvious. You're not dead yet in a factual kind of way, but there's a disconnect. You can know this, but still find yourself thinking in a way that holds you back from believing what is really possible because you're still alive. Those thoughts that keep getting in the way. Oy vey, oy vey. There's a quote by Henry David Thoreau that I absolutely love. None are so old as those who have outlived enthusiasm. Now let me repeat. None are so old as those who have outlived enthusiasm. That really gets to the heart of this. It's all about enthusiasm for life. And when you don't have that, you may need a gentle reminder that you're not dead yet. Now, when you start thinking about this stuff, you also might accidentally find yourself thinking about a Monty Python sketch about parrots or a famous scene from the Holy Grail. And if you don't know these references from my junior high slumber parties of childhood, I will include the links in the show notes. But seriously, this all begs the question, how enthusiastic are you about your life and what's actually possible? You really do have to check in with your thinking if you want to keep growing forward. Growing means, by definition, that you have to do new things. Doing new things means, by definition, that you need to do things that you may not have experience with. And that means you might have to be a beginner, or you might have to be awkward, or not that proficient, or you might even have to fail. If you're already dead, you don't have to do these things. You're off the proverbial hook. Now, Sophia Loren has something to add to this topic too. She says, and I quote, "There is a fountain of youth. It is your mind, your talents, the creativity you bring to your life, and the lives of the people you love. When you learn to tap this source, you will truly have defeated age." So when you're authentically you and you bring all of that goodness and uniqueness to your life and those around you, then you are truly alive, living to capacity, thriving in midlife and beyond. How's that sound? Now there's one more quote I want to share. It's one from my book, 50 Ways to Celebrate Life After 50. Growing older is something my parents didn't have much of an opportunity to do. They died way too young. As a happily married midlife mom, I'm extremely aware that I've outlived both of my parents and am way older than they ever were. I've been on this planet 25 years longer than my mother and 16 years longer than my father. Even though this fact is still sometimes hard for me to believe, I also feel incredibly grateful. So, here I'm talking about feeling gratitude for the opportunity to age. That is, to get older and be alive. Again, you're not dead yet. So these 3 observation starters are really important. 1, to feel enthusiastic about your life and what's possible. 2, to be authentic and bring all that is you, your mind, talents, and creativity to your important relationships. And 3, to be grateful for the opportunity to age. These 3 observations can really help you love your life more. They can really help you celebrate your life more, and they can really help you regret-proof your life more than you would when you think and show up in a way that really isn't living. It all makes good sense, right? It's obviously better to live in a way that doesn't feel like you need a reminder that you're not dead yet. But here's the rub. Even though so many amazing women in the middle agree, they don't take action. Sometimes we need a reminder. Sometimes we let valuable time fly by. Why? Think about it. Why might you allow this to happen when you're all in that it doesn't make sense to do so? I think it's because you have to own your responsibility to create the life you want. You can't blame, you can't wait, you can't whine. Well, you can actually do all of these things, but you'll just be wasting more time and staying stuck. If you're not dead yet, you can choose to take responsibility for thriving. And what does that mean? Think about what thriving means. Do you ever use that word? I don't know. Most of us don't say it that much, but we totally get what it means. If someone or something thrives, they do well, they're successful, they're healthy, or strong. If you appear to be thriving, somebody might say you're flourishing. You might be growing, you might be in alignment. I would say you're moving and grooving. Like you are taking responsibility for doing all of it. That's it. You're not just thriving accidentally. You're taking responsibility for flourishing, for growing, for moving and grooving. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference. It's an option, of course. You don't have to do it. But I always like to ask you, do you like your reasons if you're, not doing it? Do you like your reasons for the thing that you've decided to do? To procrastinate, to pull back, to ignore, to put your head in the sand, or to, believe that you're afraid. Something like that. If you're not taking responsibility for creating the kind of life that you want for yourself, why not? Why aren't you? And once you figure that out, ask yourself, are you okay with the reason why? It's a great idea to like your reasons. That's why I'm always asking you to think about it. And here's where you might find some fear hanging out too, so be on the lookout. Fear is something that has gotten in my way many, many times. What is it for you? What's the reason if you're not going after your dreams, if you're not thriving? Why? Now, I know this episode is all about a weird little saying about stating the obvious, you're not dead yet. But in midlife, it is such a loaded little saying. If you're not dead yet, why are you thinking, feeling, and acting like you are? Well, not exactly dead, but why aren't you thinking about your dreams and priorities? Why aren't you moving toward growth? Why aren't you grateful for possibility? Why are you choosing to believe there are no opportunities? Why are you willing to wait, ignore, hide, or stay small? When you're alive, you have choices. When you're alive, you have time. When you're alive, you can make things happen. You, my friend, are not dead yet. You have time. You're not too old, but you do have to take responsibility to manage that mind of yours one thought at a time. Okay, that's it for this episode. As you know, my focus as your midlife coach is to help you get unstuck, clear, and excited about your life again. As midlife women, so often we feel it in our gut, we're meant for more. And I bet you feel this way too. You have something big in you, but you just don't know exactly what it is or how to get there. If you want to figure this out fast and have way more fun, there's no better mechanism, no better way to move forward like this than with a community of people just like you, a community of women just like you. I would love to be able to help you find that thing that you know you have inside you. You have that one core thing, something big, and I want to invite you to check out the Women in the Middle Academy. It's a 6-month coaching program where you get all the support you need to apply what you're learning here in the podcast, but more importantly, you get clarity and excitement in your life again. So don't waste another second feeling stuck. Book your momentum call and we'll have a quick chat. Head over to www.womeninthemiddleacademy.com. For show notes and links and info about how to download the free gift I have for you, 12 obvious signs that you're ready for an exciting change, go to www.susierosenstein.com and click on the podcast tab to find the information about the episode. Let's do this, ladies. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.